This video is going to be a film study look at Isaiah Likely with a focus on his end of season stretch run in 2023 when he really put together statistics and impact that is similar to a Pro Bowl player. Of course, we know his opportunities have been hidden or covered up by really established superstars, mainly Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews. Andrews is a perennial Pro Bowl player when he's not hurt. He's got a 100-catch season to his credit. That had happened before Likely was drafted in 2022 NFL draft. In 2 years, Likely hasn't even matched Andrews' output from that one season, 2021. Likely's got 66 catches and 8 touchdowns in 2 years. So I'm sure there'll be some people who say, how can you mention him as a Pro Bowl player? He only averages 33 catches a year. Opportunities have been limited, mainly by the presence of Andrews, but also acquisitions, particularly in 2023, of Zay Flowers and Odell Beckham Jr. Nonetheless, Likely's shown big play potential and some traits that are very unique and dangerous for a tight end. First of all, the ability to break tackles. Actually, 2 traits or skills that Likely has: breaking tackles, and I think this one is huge, particularly with Lamar Jackson as your quarterback. Isaiah Likely can find or get open when Lamar extends the play and threatens to scramble. He's great in those moments, and I intend to show you some examples of that in this video. He just does a fantastic job of finding open areas right around the top of the numbers, really, and he's done that since his rookie year. Make himself available for Lamar to get him the football. It's a skill that I think fits extremely well in combination with Lamar Jackson, and I think one that sets him apart, along with breaking tackles. If you ask me, it sets him apart from even some of the guys that had an impact last year for the Ravens, but do not generate a ton of yards after the catch or break a lot of tackles. Look, Flowers led the team in receptions last year with 77. I'm not talking about him because he clearly makes people miss a lot almost every time he gets the football. I'm referring to guys like Bateman, Andrews, Aguilar, players that were in that range of 30 to 45 catches overall for the year. Now, Andrews' overall stats for 2023, a little bit misleading, obviously, because he only played in 10 games since he got hurt, I think, in the first quarter of the game against the Bengals in Week 11. We also expect Bateman to have more production with OBJ gone. OBJ soaked up 64 targets in the regular season, playing 14 games. How do those 60 targets get spread out among a returning Andrews, Bateman, and Likely, who is just surging when you look at the film? It's going to be interesting, and I have no problem with fans who want to see Likely get 70-plus targets. Look at the stats from last year. He put up 30 catches on 40 opportunities, or a 75% catch percentage. That's really significant, if you ask me, because it's relatively easy to repeat it. The formula is there with Isaiah Likely's combination of size, speed, agility, and awareness, and then how Todd Monken deploys tight ends. Monken generally lines up the tight end into the boundary and dictates the matchup to the defense, since most teams align their inside linebackers in a field and boundary relationship. Look, the Ravens did the same thing last year, and they will this year. Roquan Smith was to the wide side. Patrick Queen was to the boundary. That's where you're going to find Likely or Mark Andrews if there's only one tight end on the field, to the boundary. And Likely is devastating in that short space. He's converted a high percentage of his chances, like I said, 30 out of 40 catches. And some of the misses, the 10 times he was targeted and didn't catch the ball, were either uncatchable or 2 were throwaways. The talent that he's displayed at the catch point, specifically tough catches, contested, with contact, he's a high percentage tight end. Now, is he a hybrid tight end? Does he count as a, quote, weapon for Lamar? Certainly he does. Go ahead and call him a hybrid tight end. I don't have a problem with that. But in Monken's offense, the tight end is generally going to operate to the boundary. That's where you're going to find Likely in the overwhelming majority of the clips you're going to see here. Although I do have a lot of interest in seeing how he operates with him and Andrews on the field at the same time. Now, ironically, the first play that I'm going to show you here in the film study portion has Likely lined up to the field. This is a 4th and 7 against the Dolphins at home late in the season. We're facing man defense. Miami's bringing a 5-man pressure. Lamar steps up, finds Likely over the middle, crossing route left to right. First of all, the amazing thing and exciting thing from a Ravens standpoint is Likely makes a one-handed catch on a 4th and 7 near the numbers. So there's just all this space for him to run onto against this man defense down by the sideline. So he wins his matchup. And the reality is, when you check out the film, even from 2022, when Likely gets this much space, he's either going to make people miss or break a tackle. And in this case, kind of a little bit of both. Ends up getting into the end zone for a ridiculous, I think, 47-yard touchdown. End zone angle. This one made it 28-13 late in the second quarter. And I think it just shows the ability that Likely has, what he offers to this offense. First of all, incredible catch. And then being able to run smoothly, keep his balance towards the sideline, and then add on to it, meaning break tackles, run through contact. This was a 4th and 7. Huge touchdown, if you ask me. There's just not too many tight ends who have this type of potential. There's some super talented tight ends across the league. No one in the draft that I noticed at the tight end position offered this kind of ability. Here's a 21 personnel group, week 14 against the Rams. Likely is down here at the bottom of the screen, packaged with Ricard. Really cool play design. The Ravens have used, in this situation, formation and then motion to exploit the Rams. Surprisingly, LA's in their base defense. They're not normally in a 3-4. They're oftentimes in a 5-1 look. You can see 2 outside linebackers. 2 guys playing inside linebacker. I think one of them's actually a DB. They could rotate out of this in terms of the motion to kind of better handle this wheel route. Likely ends up wide open. Both of these receivers are running their routes in towards the left hash, pulling the DBs with them. Wide open, like I said, 54-yard touchdown first quarter, late first quarter, ties it up at 7. Look at the talent that's on the field for the Ravens. You've got Bateman, Zay Flowers, Keaton Mitchell in the backfield. Likely a super gifted group of young players on offense that all have made plays in the NFL at various times. You'd like to see them all put it together at the same time in 2024. This one is the same formation as the last play, but from a different personnel grouping. You still have Likely down here, bottom side of the screen, right side of the offense, 2 tight ends. The only difference is there's actually 2 tight ends, 12 personnel group. Likely and Kolar there next to each other instead of Likely and Ricard, like to play against the Rams. Week 15, Ravens give you the sweep motion with Flowers, and 3 of the guys down here at the bottom side of the screen for the Jags really not reading a thing. You got both tight ends releasing past them. No one touches them at all on the play action concept. You got the vertical spread of the route. So this is a hardball play. I think Michigan has run this one as well. The Ravens, it's been in the Ravens playbook for at least 4 years. The staggered releases of the tight ends is intentional. Kolar threatens the seam first, whereas Likely kind of gets width first, and then when his steps are at an angle, and then runs inside of the corner. See, his steps are to the bottom of the numbers, and then he's vertical, kind of towards the pylon first, towards the end zone, corner of the end zone first, to create that width between him and Kolar, such that the safety can't cover both of them. As long as he gets inside leverage on the corner, this is kind of like stealing money. Lamar's got, I think, 4 touchdowns on this concept that I recall. I guess I can actually only recall 2 other ones. Very similar to catches that Andrews had for a touchdown against Washington in 2020. Nick Boyle nearly had a touchdown on this one against the Colts in 2020. You've got end zone angle, same play. You can see the safety sticking with Kolar on the seam vertical first. Beautiful concept, if you ask me, that fits up or suits Likely skills and traits immediately, because he can make the catch even if he's covered well, like we saw in the playoff win against the Texans. Similar route for Likely here, located at the top of the screen, pretty much into the boundary. His path takes him up the top of the numbers this time instead of the bottom of the numbers. I think this shows the well, number one, it shows the tendency for where Likely lines up, and then the unique ability that he has. I guess the ball's not exactly on the right hash. It's tucked just inside the right hash. Kolar, when in motion, he's going to run a vertical. In the left seam, Likely's going to get width, run up the top of the numbers. Basically a cover 3 killer, where you're trying to read the free safety. It's not like NFL and high-level college teams use this as much as high school teams, but in any case, Likely catches it. Huntley gets rid of the ball quick, makes the catch with contact, which is a common theme among the plays that I'm showing you. Stiff arms the second defender, dives into the end zone, 27-yard touchdown. I think it gives you an idea, another illustration of what he's capable of when he gets the ball in his hands. Same play, end zone angle. It's a drop cover 3 by the Steelers, and Huntley's able to throw this ball over the second level of the defense. You can see Likely running up the top of the numbers. Huntley's going to get this ball over top of Watt, in between the corner and the safety. The corner makes contact with Likely, who kind of uses that momentum to bounce off. This one's sick, if you ask me. It gives you, look, during the last 6 games of the regular season, Likely had 21 catches on 28 targets. Included in that was 5 touchdowns. So right in line with his 75% catch percentage for the year. Additionally, this one has Likely and Kolar on the field at the same time. Quarterback's got to read the free safety, drop it in there. Same concept against the Jags. Likely's actually not going to be targeted here. He's to the right, ball's on the left hash, so he's to the field this time. Kolar's to the boundary. The target being the tight end to the boundary is a common theme. I don't think this is predetermined, to be honest with you. It just as easily could have been Likely to the boundary or Andrews over there if he was healthy. Point is, it's a 3-deep coverage. Monken, I think, has a good handle on when teams are going to play these single high looks, and how to attack them. This previous play against the Steelers was a cover 3. This one's 3 deep, 3 under. They're dropping both OLBs, Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker. And in this case, Lamar flips it over there away from Rayshon Jenkins, who's kind of like the middle of the field dropper. It's just a quick read. First one had Likely on a touchdown against the Steelers. This one, Kolar nearly scores in Week 15 against the Jags. This one's kind of a cheap touchdown from a Likely perspective, again against the Dolphins. Kolar and Likely on the field with Ricard, so 22 personnel. Another, if you ask me, real option from a personnel standpoint, 22, because of how good Andrews and Likely are as receiving threats. Yes, there's only one true receiver on the field in this particular alignment, Nelson Aguilar. But Andrews and Likely have that flexibility. They can line up at receiver and do a good job. Likely walks down pre-snap, makes it look like maybe he's going to crack with our toss to the boundary, kind of that patented play. Then he engages. I think that's Van Ginkel, the outside linebacker that signed with the Vikings. Really underrated football player. Anyway, Likely delay releases across the formation. Dolphins aren't able to handle the communication properly and get him covered. Easy touchdown. Second one of the game, I believe. Another element, or I guess maybe 2, that I'd like to cover in this video and try to show some film of is Likely finding open space and adjusting when Lamar extends the play by escaping the initial pass rush. Now, it might not be a necessary skill or something that you draft people on, but I think it's a trait the Ravens either look for or try to develop in any wide receiver and tight end, because Lamar's going to get outside of the pocket a lot. He's going to make people miss. That's why certain teams go to sticks blitz 0 in third down situations, because of Lamar's unique skills. Get the ball out of his hands. At least limit the options for the offense. Anyway, Likely's really good at recognizing and adapting where to go during the play. So you can see he's kind of running up the top of the numbers, similar to what we described in a couple of the previous plays. Kolar's kind of running out and up. Stick nod, people want to call it. Fine. But now we have Lamar breaking contain after Moses is beat by the left side D end, and then likely getting open all the way across the field. He recognizes where he needs to be to help on a specific scramble, and that's a different skill. Look, there's rules, there's ways to practice it, and certainly the Ravens do. The tops of the numbers are generally going to be the areas you're going to find likely in these situations. He happens to be on the far side area, but he gets open, number one, and number two. It's an unbelievable play by Lamar. Lamar took a huge shot there from number 91, I believe. But to get this throw there shows off the arm strength, and then likely elevating to be able to stab it, control it immediately while taking contact from both sides. I think it not only shows Lamar's ability, but shows how their skills fit or mesh well together. If you ask me, Isaiah Likely could be a star very soon. Plays like this make it clear for me, because really, who else on the roster makes that catch with that kind of contact? Meaning he kind of got high load from two players, one to the right and one to the left. Controlled the ball instantly. It's an incredible example, if you ask me, of the unique skills that he offers. It wouldn't surprise me at all if 1 year from now, or less than 1 year from now, we're looking back and saying, all of us saying, well, I saw it coming, even though most of us, myself included, maybe didn't. Another illustration of his ability to adapt. Now, this is 2022 against the Bucs. This is the game where the Ravens threw the ball like 25 times in the first half, and we were all kind of surprised with the play calling choices that Greg Roman made. Lamar it's just a rocket to the back of the end zone, likely smartly follows Demarcus Robinson's route. So Robinson's route's kind of bringing him on this higher mesh concept to the far side. I think that's kind of what the Ravens are looking for. Likely's route's going to bring him in here, and then he's going to double back and follow Demarcus Robinson, basically into the open space created when Robinson clears out the corner. Zion McCollum. This is not part of the play design, is what I'm saying. Likely's instincts, his ability to adapt, his awareness are really good, and they mesh up with Lamar's skill set perfectly. And then you got a high-level catch in the back of the end zone, getting his feet in bounds, almost out of bounds, and a really sharp throw by Lamar, sliding to his right. Another example of where I say he could have been a Major League Baseball shortstop, which is crazy because apparently he does everything else left-handed, which there's no left-handed shortstops, obviously, but throwing right-handed to his right reminds me of a guy going into the hole and then whipping the ball across the diamond to the first baseman to get an out. Likely finding open space to make the catch is going to be the common denominator on the next three plays I show you. But pay attention also to where it happens or where he makes the catch, right at the numbers, or in each case. This one is at the bottom of the numbers. The other two are going to be at the top. But in any case, Lamar likely goes onto that space when Lamar breaks contain. It's not an accident. He's going to be in that area anyway because of the types of routes that he's running. There's certain landmarks that exist in different offenses or positions. His route's not always going to put him near the top of the numbers, but he certainly ends up there a lot when Lamar scrambles. I think that shows up in these plays enough to make me identify that area as one of the landmarks the Ravens coach in these situations, and likely does a great job of it. Look, there's other factors depending on your depth of the depth of your route when the quarterback scrambles. If you're deep, come back shallow. If you're shallow, go deep. It's not as simple as I'm presenting it, but likely makes it look straightforward because he's really good at it. It matches up with Lamar's skills, or one of Lamar's skills, and I think his time on the field needs to increase. It's certainly difficult to say who comes off the field because there's a lot of talent on the Ravens offense. They've got guys who can make plays all over the field. Lamar, Derrick Henry, Andrews, Flowers, Bateman. Look, even Nelson Aguilar had 35 catches on 45 targets in 2023. That's a ridiculous 77% catch percentage, and he also averaged 10.9 yards per catch while doing so. It's not like he was a running back who had a 77 or 80% catch percentage, but only averaged like 6 yards per catch. There's a lot of those running backs out there from a statistical standpoint. So where do the additional snaps come from for Likely? I expect some people to say Patrick Ricard, to be honest with you, and I can't argue that. Likely is a talented playmaker, a guy with multiple scores of 40 yards or more just from 2023. That touchdown against the Dolphins on the fourth down, the wheel for the long touchdown against the Rams, just get him on the field. Period. If and when the Ravens do get him on the field consistently, meaning 45 to 50 snaps per game on a weekly basis, he'll produce more. It seems that simple to me. It may not to you. If it doesn't seem that simple to you, feel free to let me know in the comment section. Henry's going to get a lot of carries. That's why they signed him. He should. Flowers is going to get a lot of targets. He definitely should. Andrews, Bateman are going to get a certain number of targets. That split of the 64 plus targets that OBJ got, how does it get disseminated to Andrews, Bateman, and Likely? I think really all it comes down to is opportunity. I don't just think the word opportunities should be thrown around in terms of number of snaps on the field. Isaiah Likely at this point has shown the coaches and the fans, if you ask me, that he deserves the football because he'll make plays. The offense is better when he's getting the football, especially on scripted or designed plays. A couple of screens here, and then everyone's favorite play, QB sweep pass, used as a guy to chip a defensive end and then into the boundary as a screen option. Likely's ability after the catch he's got a high ceiling, if you ask me. And then he also plays through contact extremely well. In some cases, he searches out contact. The all-22 angle of this one may not show it great, but he's taking a NFL-level outside linebacker and putting his inside arm, his left arm in this case, in the middle of the guy's chest, knocking him off balance, and then ricocheting off of Demario Davis, who's a huge inside linebacker in his own right. Touchdown on what I call QB sweep pass. I put a video out of this on Twitter a couple of days ago to just kind of illustrate that this has been in the Ravens offense for the better part of 3+ years. Isaiah Likely is a perfect guy in these situations. Designed play. Obviously, if Lamar doesn't like what he sees, he can run out of bounds. Don't want him to take a sack. Probably just throw the football away. Better known at this point for the touchdown pass against Derek Stingley and the Texans in the playoffs, where Lamar throws it back shoulder for Likely, which is against the design of the play. What I mean by that is it's designed to go exactly where you saw it go for the touchdown against the Saints in Likely's rookie season. In this case, Lamar sees the coverage, throws it away from Stingley, just basically throws it up to let Likely go get it. He has that kind of ability, number one, and that kind of trust from Lamar. My summary here at the end might sound kind of inflammatory at first. I think Likely has the ability to score 8 or 10 touchdowns in 2024. If he's given the opportunity, say 70 targets and 10 or 12 designed plays, like some of the ones I just showed you, but others, what happened from week 11 on when he was getting 50 snaps a game? If he gets 50 snaps a game and 70, 80 targets, he's going to produce. Now, does that occur with the amount of talent that is going to be on the field for the Ravens in 2024? I'm not sure. I think 40 to 42 snaps a game is more realistic. Possibly sometimes on the field with Andrews. 11 personnel does look good for this Ravens team, but 12 personnel looks even better with Andrews and Likely on the field at the same time. Here's why. If you can keep a team's base personnel on the field, most NFL teams at this point are in a 3-4. Some are 4-3. And then you get Andrews and Likely matched up where you want them to, kind of similar to some of the plays I showed you into the boundary, and the wheel for the touchdown against the Rams. It's a pretty good option, regardless of who the two receivers are on the field. I don't know about you, but I would like to actually see Des Walker get some deep routes out of 12 personnel. Now, that means Flowers or Bateman isn't on the field on that snap or in that situation, but against a base defense, if that's what teams choose to do against Likely and Andrews, I'd love to see the vertical possibilities or vertical routes from Walker kind of open up things underneath for Likely and Andrews. There's also multiple combinations of players the Ravens can use in all their personnel groupings, but particularly 11 and 22. The reason I bring this up is yesterday during a chat with one of the people in my Discord slash Patreon, we were both examining multiple versions of certain personnel groups, meaning you could have an 11 personnel group with Aguilar and Andrews on the field, and then a separate 11 personnel group with Walker and Likely. It doesn't have to be the same group of players on every single snap. And the Ravens did a lot of that in 2023, but at times, because of injuries, they were not able to. Giving the defense multiple versions of the same personnel group, I think Likely's production is really only capped by opportunity. It's not capped by ability at all. He gets open. He makes plays when targeted. It doesn't always appear that simple watching NFL film. In this case, I think it does. I cut through originally about 40 or 45 plays to get this video produced. First of all, I hope you like it. But the overriding theme for me was his second year looked like the type of season where if the Ravens needed more from him, they could have got it. He's a weapon. Not to use a phrase or word to trigger people, because that, as fans, we want weapons, as many as possible. You've now got, hopefully, a healthy Mark Andrews. Derrick Henry is added to the mix. Keaton Mitchell, unfortunately, won't be back until late in the season, if at all, perhaps. Nonetheless, this offense reminds me of, I like basketball references, so here's one. It reminds me of a championship basketball team that goes like 9 deep, if everyone's healthy. And any 7 of those guys could lead the team in scoring, or in this case, this example, touchdowns in any given game. I don't think Likely is going to be a 60, 65 catch guy for this team. I don't think he needs to. I don't think he needs 60 or 65 catches to make an impact. Likely could have 45 to 50 catches, and 6, 8, 10 of those could be touchdowns. Is it enough on the offensive side of the ball? Meaning, is there enough talent for you as a fan to recognize we have enough to get the job done? I think so. When you look at the totality of what's there, if and when everyone's healthy, it's a truly unique situation to have Andrews and Likely and then Kolar buried at third on the depth chart. Nonetheless, even though I do think it's enough, you may not. I can't blame fans for wanting as much high-level talent as possible. Why would someone have a problem if another fan wants more weapons, if another fan wants more high-ceiling receivers or tight ends? This player, Isaiah Likely, to me, looks like a guy who, entering his third season, has not only shown that he's capable of producing big plays, making tough catches, breaking tackles, stiff-arming people. He's got a stiff arm from hell. Generating a lot of first downs. He does it with efficiency. And that's the part that I think sticks out the most, is that you're looking at a guy who is going to make 70% of his catches on the opportunities presented to him. That's unique, if you ask me, in the NFL. You guys let me know what you think of the video, the plays that I chose to package together to illustrate how well he performed, particularly at the end of 2023, but mixing in some film from his rookie year of 2022, where he put those things out there and displayed his unique skills as well. If you think other Ravens fans would enjoy this video, this film study look at Isaiah Likely over the course of his 2 seasons, then please consider grabbing a link to this video, sharing it out on social media to help this content get more reach.